Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Mount Fitness MBS Ministry, where I am your host, Brother Minister Mongoose, and where this ministry is living and promoting a holistic mind, body, and spirit path to health and wellness and to life overall, and where this ministry puts a premium emphasis on the group of people that the Bible refers to as the have-nots. I'll briefly mention that again somewhere along at some point in the video, and then I'll also close by mentioning some services that are provided by this ministry that are designed to help strengthen, nourish, and revitalize the mind, the body, and the spirit. But for now, let's get off into today's message, man. I want to thank you guys again for tuning in. These are some very crazy times that we live in. Some very weird times, some very unusual times, some very counterproductive times that we live in. This is what I like to refer to, and I'm not the only one. I believe it's a hot button phrase right now. I like to refer to it as the age of awakening that's walking hand in hand with the age of narcissism. So it's a lot of jealousy out there, a lot of envy out there, a lot of hatred, a lot of delusional people who have become professional victims. But this is not a cheat sheet to you. It may be a cheat sheet to those who live their lives in accordance with that frequency. But the fact of the matter is, you're not one of them. You're not one of these people that are emotional and psychologically and spiritually discombobulated. You're not one of these people that are just so far gone that they can't see how far they've even gone. Excuse me. You're not one of those people. But today we're going to be talking about some things that we inflict upon ourselves that can easily lead to us believing that we are one of those dysfunctional people, and that could cause us to live in accordance with the dysfunctionality that all of the people who are actually dysfunctional live in. The title of today's message is Self-Respect. Own it. It's yours. You've worked hard, you've earned it, it's yours. But because of the chaotic, confusing times that we live in, because of the in vogue culture, you seem to be the only fish that's swimming upstream. And if we aren't careful, we neglect our own good old-fashioned self-respect. I want to be giving some examples of how we do this, and I'm going to start by giving you guys an example of why we don't want to be making these types of errors, and why every time that we do, there's potential consequence, and there's potential ramifications, repercussions, the whole nine. Excuse me. Every time that we negate, any time that we compromise on our own self-respect and dignity, it sets the stage for that to happen over and over and over again, and it sets the stage for the environment to nourish that, to nourish not walking in self-respect, not walking in dignity. I mean, if we're hand on heart honest, we see that most people have given up, have quit, have intentionally or unintentionally forsaken good old-fashioned self-respect. I mean, superficially, they do everything that, you would think one should do, but it's empty. You know it, they know it, and we all know it. It's empty. There's no real self-respect. There's no real dignity from which most people are operating in. They have made the mistake that I'm encouraging you not to make. And in fact, it's the same mistake that I myself personally have made in the past. But God's mercy and His grace is from everlasting to everlasting. I'm going to give you an example about a piece of paper. Or the example I'll use will be a piece of paper, and this will line up with where I'm going with today's message. Say if you have a piece of paper, just a regular piece of paper. It's never been folded. It's a brand new piece of paper. If you fold it, at the tip of the corner, across the whole page or whatever, when you fold it, if you crease it, you fold it. That one time, okay, you can straighten that back out. You can straighten that back out. You could smooth that back out. You can put books on top of it. You can use a little bit of steam, whatever, but you can straighten that crease out. But what has happened is the stage has been set for that fold to become that much more easier to take place again and again and again. Once it's been folded once, and this is what takes place. Because the same is true when it comes to our self-respect individually and as a species. That folded piece of paper, it makes it easier to turn a blind eye to what your spouse is doing, what your kids, what your parents, what your government is doing, what's being done in the name of your religion, your own shortcomings. Every single time that piece of paper is bent, well, it's even that much more easier. Every time we don't own our self-respect, and I'll be giving some examples, some of the things that we can probably more than likely unconsciously do to disown our self-respect. Because every time we don't own it, we become that piece of paper, and it leaves a negative imprint on one's psyche and one's overall conduct. It establishes a toxic environment for things like fear, guilt, unworthiness, despair, arrogance, lust, greed, egotistical behavior. It sets an environment for those things to fester. And not just those things, many other, what I would say, counterproductive ways, thoughts, actions, belief systems, etc., etc. Every single time. Now you stop and you think about that. How many times, if you think back to your childhood, I'll use myself for example, how many times have you turned a blind eye to doing the right thing, to saying the right thing? How many times have you co-signed on a lie? How many times have you told a lie? How many times have you betrayed a friend or whatever? Maybe the answer is repetitively. Maybe the answer to those specific examples that I gave is never. But there's been something that you did, that we've all done, that you know, wow, I'm not proud of that. We're going to be giving some examples, man. Because these are the things, again, that we don't realize sometimes, that we are negating our own self-respect, our own dignity. And it's it's creating that toxic environment for it to happen again and again and again and again. One of the examples I'm going to be giving or starting with is the simple fact that not being yourself. Not being yourself. Some people, and these are particularly when it comes to the people, but even us, those of us that we refer to, saved souls, awakened consciousness, Christians, Muslims, whatever. It's applicable to us as well, but that's what this message is for, to encourage you to regain your footing when it comes to your self-respect. No one else can determine what your self-respect is. That's why it's called self-respect. But these kings and queens of chaos, the narcissists, the disciples of darkness, they have become that piece of paper that's been folded so repetitively. Unfortunately, for the most of them, there's no ironing that fold in a paper out. And truth be told, they become so accustomed to that piece of paper being folded that everything they do with that piece of paper is centered around, predicated upon the fact that the piece of paper is bent. It's been folded. Not being yourself in the workplace, in your career, in your relationship, in your neighborhood, in life. Not being yourself. Some people have no idea about who they self really is. They really don't, because they have folded that piece of paper time and time again in order to fit in order to stand out, whatever, to get the promotion, to get the spouse, to not get in trouble around the house as a kid, whatever. That piece of paper has been folded so much that they really don't have an idea of who they truly are. They're walking around and everything about them is a facade. It's whatever it takes to fit in or get along or not face the hard truth that, hey man, that's the theft, that's the surrendering of your self-respect. How can you have self-respect and you're not even being yourself? You take 3 seconds and you think about that. How can anybody have self-respect when they're not even being themselves? And you extrapolate that out a tad bit further. Well, how can they have self-respect when they don't even know who their self is? Trying to avoid appearing weird, trying to avoid, not fitting in or whatever, trying to get the spouse or get the promotion. This is why we have a society full of bitter and toxic people for the most part, because nobody's being themselves. And it's created that tug on their psyche. This is why there's no emotional balance. This is why there's no spiritual fortitude. Simply because people, they don't know it a lot of times. But just having to fake it every day, gosh, that's a pain in the you-know-what. May not be there consciously, but subconsciously on one's psyche. It's continuing to feed that toxic environment. And you wonder why you ain't happy with your spouse no more. You wonder why everything the kids do pisses you off. You wonder how you got the brand new car, the house, the promotion, lost the weight, but you still feel unhappy and unfulfilled because you're not being yourself. And obviously I'm not talking to you directly, but I'm going to move on and give a couple more examples. Another thing that we can do when we to disown our good old-fashioned self-respect is when you don't help someone that you know you should help, that you can help, that you know you should help. That leaves a scar. That leaves a psychological scar. Now you can zoom out on that and you can see how most people are just empty, toxic, operating in hopelessness, despair. Because there are people, there are situations, there are circumstances that they could help, but for whatever reason, they don't. And we as human beings, we're hardwired to move in unity and camaraderie. You'll never see two little kids playing in the playground. I don't care what their race is or whatever. You'll never see two kids playing in the playground and one of the kid looks over and see the other kid crying or whatever, and they just go on about their business. We're hardwired to show empathy, love, compassion, to aid and assist one another. And every time that we don't, because that person ain't about the religion I'm about, they ain't the same race I'm in, they ain't got the same political view, they ain't on the same financial bracket, whatever. It's self-inflicted scars. Another thing we do to disown our good old-fashioned self-respect, this ties in with you not being yourself or one not being themselves, is when you kiss up in order to fit in. When you fulfill the assignment, the role that they have given to you, you're the guy or the girl on the job that's, since you don't have the seniority, you're the one we laugh at, you're the one we talk about, you're the one, we don't invite to the party, you're the one that we don't treat so kindly, we roll our eyes at or whatever. Whatever the example may be, you assign yourself, you accept that role, and then when you show up, you basically just fulfill a role, / you just kiss up. Well, this is who they think I am, this is what they've assigned to me, so no, man. You're tearing down yourself. This is why if we're not careful, one can end up feeling like they are dysfunctional, like they are hopeless, like they are living in despair, like they are unfulfilled. And that's a total lie. It's just that one has negated their own self-respect. Same thing goes for dumbing down in toxic environments. That's not self-respect. That's self-sabotage. When you walk into an environment and everybody despises you, but you're going to pretend that you don't even know it. You're going to pretend you didn't catch that sideways compliment, that backhanded compliment or that sideways comment. You're going to just pretend. You're just going to dumb down. That's not self-respect. Another example, and I got to begin to speed this up. Another example, this ties right into the whole thing about self-respect. Staying in a toxic relationship. See, all of these things hit hard. You might be in that toxic relationship, you're just going through and you're managing it, and you may be telling yourself, man, I'm strong, I'm resilient, I'm tough. And you are all of those things. But you also are foregoing your self-respect by staying in there, by not letting it go, by not trying to move on. And it's scarring one. It's a psychological scar. You are better than that. You deserve better than that. All of these different things, these different examples, and again, there's tons and tons of examples that I'm not even mentioning. I haven't even coming close to mentioning all the ways that we end up engaging in self-inflicted pain and trauma as a result of us simply not honoring our good old-fashioned self-respect. Another thing that we do is when we refuse accountability for our actions, for our mistakes. Steady folding that paper. I made the mistake. I had the wrong mindset, the false beliefs, the bad intentions. I didn't make the investment when I should have. I made the investment when I shouldn't have, whatever. I let go of the person that I knew was meant for me in life. Whatever the case may be, the list goes on and on and on. But when you don't accept accountability for it, that's not self-respect, my friend. It's self-denial. And remember that mold, that festering of it all, it just continues to build. It doesn't go anywhere. You may think, it may seem like, well, you did that, you let it go, you moved on. You may have moved on from it, but it hasn't moved on from you. It's attached to you, just like that piece of paper. Now you can stop bending, you can stop folding that piece of paper, because healing is a real thing. God's mercy, His grace, His deliverance, His sovereignty, these are real things. But in a world that wants to tell you to continue to do all these different things, it's not easy. It's not easy to say, hey man, look man, my self-respect, my journey, my soul is the primary reason why I incarnated, why you and I and everyone incarnated into this thing that we call human existence. So you can't be prioritizing anything other than, we'd be thoughtful, we'd be considerate, be kind, well-intended. But at the pinnacle of it all is your journey. And you can't respect your journey. You can't respect yourself when you're not moving in self-respect. So let this be an eye-opener to you. Do a deep dive self-assessment, an honest one, a brutally honest one, and see how each and every day, maybe it's you, maybe it's not, maybe it's your spouse, your kids, your neighbors, whatever. But do it. I'm encouraging you to do a deep dive self-assessment of yourself and see, what am I doing that doesn't honor my self-respect? What am I doing to negate that? Not speaking up when I know I should? Allowing my kids to go to school in some bikini outfit that we know is inappropriate, or with the pants sagging off his behind that we know is inappropriate? What am I doing? Blaming others for my shortcomings? What am I doing? What are you doing? Because again, you can stop that. You, by the grace and the power of God, have the ability to stop it. That's one thing as human beings. We can grow, we can learn, we can evolve, we can stop folding that piece of paper. But we can't stop folding it if we aren't even aware of the fact that we're folding it in the first place. You're going along at the family reunion or the neighborhood meeting, the workplace trauma or drama. You're talking bad about somebody or agreeing with the rumors about somebody when you know in your heart of hearts that ain't true about that person. The list goes on and on, people, but I got to be able to get out of here right now. You're not the strange one. You're not the weird one. You're not the coward one. You're not the lame one. But if you don't engage and regain, own your self-respect, you can end up feeling that way. And then after feeling that way for oh so long, that feeling becomes the way in which one moves and operates in life. It's like a eagle who refused to fly. He goes down there and hang out with the chickens. Instead of him flying and catching squirrels and eating like an eagle, he goes down to the farm and eats the corns and the worms. And after so long, that's all he knows. His wings atrophy. He even forget how to fly. That's what most people have done. You are not most people. So take on the mantle, take on the assignment, and take back control and ownership of your self-respect. This is what I got for you guys. I got to get out of here. Listen, hey, as I mentioned, man, this is a holistic mind, body, and spirit ministry. Services are provided. I'll mention in a minute that are designed to strengthen and nourish the mind, body, and spirit of all human beings whose hearts are in the right place. Because when I mention the have-nots, it's not just the have-nots when it comes to not having money, not having housing, and not having equal opportunity to fairness and justice. It's the have-nots when it comes to not having love, not having a sense of purpose, not having a sense of fulfillment and peace and joy. It's all of the have-nots. That's the mission of this ministry, to prioritize all of the have-nots. Now, if that sounds like you, or if the mission itself resonates with you, then either way, I ask that you do your very best to support this ministry. Here are some examples of how you can do just that. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Turn on the bell icon for notifications. There's a video on here that talks about the services. Just type in services. You can investigate the services. You can utilize the services. You can also go to the Cash App and make a monetary donation. You can send me a word of encouragement by leaving a comment. But whatever good seed you plant into this ministry, I supernaturally release back to you the abundant harvest that He promised you and me whenever we plant good seed into good ground. Receive your harvest by faith as I simultaneously receive your continued love, support, and generosity. This is what I got for you guys. The services consist of philosophical counseling as well as youth and young adult mentoring and counseling, age appropriate, and that's for mental fitness and health. There's also a variety of age appropriate, clean-hearted spiritual teachings and practices for spiritual fitness and health. And of course, the certified fitness training is age appropriate as well for physical fitness and health. If you have any questions, there's an email link down in the description box. Don't know if I mentioned the Cash App link is down in the description box. If the Holy Spirit moves you to make a monetary donation in any amount, but whatever way you show your love, expect your harvest. The good book says, be it unto you according to your faith, your expectations. This is what I got for you guys. Hey man, listen. Don't allow yourself to feel like you're something that you're not. Don't allow yourself to play the role of something or someone that you're not. Because when we move outside of good old-fashioned self-respect, that's what we end up doing. We end up playing the role of a lame, a quitter, a egotistical maniac, and all of these other things, a victim. You're not none of those things. And if you find yourself feeling like that sometimes, again, drag yourself to the mirror, be brutally honest, and see if there's anything you're doing that's causing you to feel that way by way of you not owning your self-respect. Definitely reach out to the ministry if I could be of service to you. And this is what I got for you guys. I love you all, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Thanks again for all the love and support. And yes, I am Brother Minister Mongoose. And yes, I will holla back.